We were really interested in factors that influences the eating choices that people make. There's a literature on stereotypes that shows that exposure to a stereotype increases behaviors that are associated with the stereotype. Does seeing someone who's overweight actually increase the chance that you yourself are going to eat what we call indulgent food, by which we mean high energy, low nutrient food? If you look at the research on the overweight stereotype, that's part of the stereotype. So that should be part of what's activated with seeing someone who's overweight. Our first study, we just wanted to test the very basic effect. So we had a research assistant in the lobby of a building just stop people who were walking through the building and say, could you help me with a research project? They completed a short questionnaire which included a picture of either an overweight person, a healthy weight person, or a neutral object. And then afterwards, the research assistant offered a bowl of candy and said, please help yourself as a thank you. And what we were doing was surreptitiously recording the number of candies that the person took. So that was really intriguing because yes, we were seeing that seeing someone who's overweight actually increased the amount of food that people chose. One of the early studies was a study on photographs. People looked at a series of digital photographs, and some people saw a photo of an overweight person, some saw a normal weight person, and some saw a neutral object. Then they did some other tasks, and later they participated in a taste test in which people were given a bowl of 8 cookies, and they were asked to taste at least one and then to complete a series of questions about the cookies. Again, we recorded the number of cookies that people ate during that last study. And again, we saw the same effect. We've run about 9 different studies at this point, and we always get that same basic effect. So we think there's a couple important things that people are susceptible to this effect. We have a study that shows that people don't think that they're susceptible to the effect. The other aspect that we felt was important and very different from all the other priming research is this idea that the behavior can lead to becoming part of the stereotype. Our research shows that people will eat after seeing someone who's overweight, and we wanted to push on that a little bit to understand the limits. So some of our studies looked at the question of, well, what if you remind people of the link between eating and potentially gaining weight? So we wanted to know if thinking about their personal health goals would help people control this effect. So we did another study where we had people in an early study just write for 5 minutes about what their personal health goals were. Then everything else is the same. They see pictures and they have an opportunity to eat during a taste test. And we did find that when people had thought about their personal health goals in an unrelated study ahead of time, that we did not see the effect of the overweight prime. One is the counterintuitive finding that seeing someone overweight can lead a person to eat more him or herself. We also think it's important to understand that consideration of personal health goals can limit the eating choices that we make, and that thinking about the adverse consequences, about the potential for eating indulgent food to lead to weight gain, can also serve to limit this effect. One aspect of the research that we find interesting is that it builds more support for the notion that overweight and obesity is a social effect, and that there's kind of a social contagion in which one person gaining weight within a social network can lead to additional people gaining weight.